So hopefully everybody can hear us. Hi guys.
And see us. I mean, look at these faces, right?
Right?
Does that not say it all?
Absolutely it does.
And hopefully you guys did tune in to our today's edited release, which was a look at Stuart's big theory on the burn, the Discovery Nebula theory. Already 2,500 people watched it. Do go back and look. And of course, watch our Saturday video that just came on the Viridian Orion Heavy Cruiser, which everyone pretty much thought the same thing. So that was kind of nice on that one. And in fact, even our
Cool.
review, actually, comments are extremely similar on our reviews this week. But do tune in if you like Discovery this year, as you should. And let's hope, Stuart, that we get some Mandalorian love this week, because this is our sort of post-test. You guys came out last week. We're crossing our fingers for this week. It's not up to us. We're here either way. Let's hope we're proved right.
Well, I'm hoping so because I thought this was a great episode.
Oh,
so
spoilers.
hopefully people will show up. I mean, it's only part one of like a 3-part thing to finish up the season. So
yes,
and it shows. But other than that, it was pretty great.
And this one's a hard one to do thumbnails for, because you've got to kind of. I mean, the spoilers are out. You know what I mean? It was one that so many videos are doing things, but I kind of kept them relatively medium. But you knew Bo was in the season anyway. I thought this was quite a cool like action pose. So it could be someone else in the armor, etc. It's tricky, with some of these episodes. It's like you don't give everything away, but also. But I always do your reaction a bit less spoilery, and this one a bit more spoilery. 'Cause it's one day later, So it's kind of a.
I thought a good one would have been Grogu on the rock with the force.
I thought so too, but that he wasn't really the draw of this week. It was Boba. Like
I know, but to not spoil the Boba thing for people.
But then also, who's to say he actually got to the rock, etc. this week? It's tricky. It's tricky. So aiming for the other one. Yes, sir. But did you have a nice weekend then?
Yeah, not a bad weekend. Better than my Monday. Today wasn't the best. I'm feeling kind of blah and in the dumps. So hopefully this will cheer me up and we'll get some good people interacting and stuff. So we'll see.
We certainly do feed off you guys' interaction for sure. Yeah, I've been working on bits and bobs. I'm trying to finish off. I was about to spoil a thing, but I can't. But Stuart knows what I'm working on. An unusual thing in fan films, which it's fun to bring to life. Is a tease. And I just revealed on our Trekyards page that, although to be fair though, you guys that watch these lives, Drunk Live is actually the first time I revealed my Voyager costume, which Sylvie did not give a shit about. I came in, she kept talking, and then someone paid me to swap it out. I was like, oh, okay, that was the epic reveal. Great. But I got...
Can't all be epic. Can't all work in your favor, man.
No, you can't.
Life just... Yeah.
But anyway, that's why the picture came out as well. So do check out Trekyards' Facebook, see me in Voyager costume on a Voyager bridge, etc., etc. But I will.
Well, guys,
start sharing if you want.
Please do. Yes.
All right. See you
57 viewers right now, 42 likes, guys. We can get those likes up to at least 50. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Don't forget, super chats are a great way to help with the channel and interact with us here. You get to read. We read every super chat, regardless. So anyway, so make sure that if you can super chat, you're able to, or if you're able to, you can. If you're able to, you will. Yes, because that'll help us out. It helps out the channel, and it helps get your voice out there and gets your part of the conversation in there. Hold on, I just got to take care of an email here, or a message. There we go. All right. Other ways to help us out as well. There's links in the description of every video for Teespring store. You can buy some Trekyards merch, some cool stuff like that. You can even join the channel. Different ranks there that you can join at, which is a monthly way to help us out, which has been really helpful, actually. So if you can, please do. It shows your support for the channel and for us, and we really appreciate it. You can also head over to Patreon/Trekyards, which is another monthly way to help us out, or just Trekyards.com. There's a donate button there as well. There's lots of different ways to help us out. If you want to send us a PayPal during the live, you can do so as well. Just make sure that you use Hotmail, or not Hotmail, Trekyards@hotmail.com to let us know, and let us know in the chat that you've actually sent it, and we will make sure that we read out your comment or question via the email for that. So there's lots of different ways to get in touch with us and have your voice heard as part of the conversation. So yeah. And looks like Joe Torres is in the chat today, which is odd. He's never here, but thank you, Joe, for joining. Appreciate that. Saw Ian earlier as well. Brian can't be here tonight. Olivia, I have no idea if she's going to be here. Jeff Jacobs not going to be here, I don't think. Fleet Pie, I don't know. But thank you to everybody that can make it. There was like nobody supporting the chat last night. But that's okay. Hopefully you guys will come out in force today and show your love for the Mandalorian and Boba Fett in particular. And we'll have a nice talk about it. I'm not sure how long this one's going to be. This was actually a shorter episode than I think any of us anticipated. I think it was like 33 minutes. So anyway, yeah, I'm not sure if like this is just the first part of like a three act thing. So it's definitely something that I think shows in this one, as there's not a lot of variety, but we look forward to hearing your thoughts as well. So,
and it is now shared to the lovely audience out there. 68 people, okay. And I've got 10 since I was sharing. Not a lot, but let's see. But yeah, Stuart, then what do you think of episode 14 of season? Doesn't matter, it's just episode 14.
Yes, chapter 14.
Yes.
I thought this was great. I said last week's was probably like the best of the series. This week is on par with it, in my opinion. It's not just the nostalgia factor either. Like there's some cool stuff in this one as far as the Empire's back. You see stormtroopers, gleaming white stormtroopers. Mm-hmm. I hate that they get like trounced every time though. Like they went to the Prometheus School of running away from things, and they also went to Stormtrooper Academy and learned how to shoot. So kind of disappointing in that regard. Also, just the fact that their armor can be taken out so easily is a little bit disconcerting, but I mean, it's the standard trope of stormtroopers these days, so we got to get used to it. You can't have the good guys like getting their asses kicked, right? So, so other than that, I mean, I love how it's called The Tragedy, and yet it's such a great episode. And it's like, the tragedy, what's going to happen? Well, there's a double kick to the nuts in this one. You get the Razor Crest gets destroyed, spoilers, and Grogu gets kidnapped. So it's very much the Empire Strikes Back episode of The Mandalorian. What will happen next? And I love that he found the Beskar spear in the wreckage. I thought that was neat, because I was thinking, what happened to that? I'm glad that was
fine, not even a scratch.
Yeah. The fact that he found the little knob, though, I was like, that's kind of convenient, but oh well, that's fine.
Yeah,
it's just a thing to time to Grogu. But no, it was a good episode. And it did leave you on that down note, like what is going to happen next. And I love that it's like setting up for the next two episodes. Like I think these last three are like a little mini movie, and this is just the first act, because it's very one beat. You know, they arrive and then there's a bunch of fighting. It's basically all just stormtrooper battle. But it's, you know, you get to see Boba kicking some ass, which is great, because, you know, he kind of went out like a little bitch in Return of the Jedi. And it was brought up last night on my first reaction that I think maybe he was high on spice during Return of the Jedi. Yeah, on spice, hanging out with the hookers and Jabba's sail barge, and was not ready for a battle.
He was hungover as well.
Yeah,
I mean, that was
because I love in this one before. He says in this one, this is no spice dream. Or whatever. So who knows? But yeah, he kicks more ass in this than he did in any of this whole like previous appearances in movies. So Anyway, no, it's a fun episode, and I'm looking forward to talking about it. I'm not sure how long we're going to be able to talk about it, though, because, like I said, it's mostly just fight scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But they're pretty kick-ass fight scenes, and I'm sure we're going to see some of them on Stuntmen React.
Both positively and negatively, for sure, as it was a bit of everything. Stuart asked me what I thought.
There's nobody here named Stuart.
Captain Foley.
Class. There you go.
Of the USS Foley.
Of the Foley universe and the Foley quadrants from Planet Foley.
The Bessic verse and the Foley verse, yeah.
Oh dear God, has he messaged you about that? Anyway, what did you think of the episode, Daniel?
I mean, this is one of those ones. This episode's purely for Star Wars fans. I think if you weren't a Star Wars fan, this episode would be very flat because it is just one scene, in essence. But if you're a Star Wars fan, then you're seeing stuff, and I did the math. You know, we haven't seen this character, well, because he died, do anything for 37 years, and inarguably he does more in this episode than he has done in his, 50 years of being a character, which was super intentional. And so that's great, right? Brilliant. But this episode feels like a fan film, heavily. The fact that it's shot outside, for some reason, lots of CGI stormtroopers. I'm not sure why. I guess they only had like 4 or 5 people, so it's very confusing. I'm not sure.
Really?
Why.
I didn't even notice that.
No, it wasn't. The CGI was more noticeable for me this week. But then, but I mean, you could easily have a Boba Fett costume, stormtrooper costumes outside in the California sun. That it literally is fan film level, whatever. And so it kind of had that vibe because they didn't, it wasn't very alien, didn't add much to it. It all looked nice, but I've seen fan films of equal quality, and so it didn't really, obviously it's great to have the actual Boba Fett back, which obviously adds something. But when you have a lead character who's in the uniform which you can copy, and another main character back in the uniform which you can copy, and a lady who can be a stuntman the entire time who's in a helmet that you can copy, with stormtroopers who are, so it's one of those weird things of if you're a Star Wars fan, brilliant. If you're not, like we said, it's one tone. The action is good, but only for Boba Fett. But the fact that it's his episode. It isn't really Mandalorian's episode because he gets knocked out. Well, he's not very smart in it. He gets knocked out, and then he's like, "Oh, you'll help? Cool." He's very.
I forgot my jetpack was a thing.
Yeah. So basically, they had to say, right, we're just going to push him aside completely and give Boba a real chance. But for that, it was awesome. But yeah, watching a sniper shoot stormtroopers is boring as all hell, and watching them like converge on them in that one scene, and there's two sides of them. The one side where he's covering them, they're shooting, he's blocking. The other side aren't shooting, even though they've got clear angles. Like, how are you all like?
Yeah.
And if you know they're not going to hit you, just murder them all. So it's an episode that shows that TV budget, lower budget than last season. They weren't given much time. They aren't able to be as creative as they want to be. You can tell they want to have that big budget feel, but they just haven't got the money, which is weird because I would just give them as much as they wanted. And then the end, these Dark Troopers, it's like, what's the point in sending all the Stormtroopers if you're going to send Dark Troopers? It kind of makes that entire thing redundant. And to have scenes where you see one lander and then lots of Stormtroopers come out, they all get massacred, a second land, we know exactly how many are in that, and then there's more appear out of nowhere that can't exist because there's not enough room. I wish there'd been a scene where like one lands, they get killed, and then like 15 land. Then it's just like an absolute clusterfuck of stormtroopers. But it's like, why would you just send 2? Just send loads, And if you really want to kill them, just use the cannons on the troop transports. Why are you using hand cannons that don't work? You've got these big guns on the troop transport. You're not trying to capture them at all.
That's a good point.
So there's massive, doesn't matter, we're not thinking about it stuff. So I think definitely Discovery's got smarter this year. Mandalorian's got a lot dumber, which is weird because it's the same team. I don't know why. So it's a great watch, but it definitely is, let's have a Boba Fett redemption episode, and that's it. And that's great.
I really enjoyed it after watching it the first time, but now that you said all that, it's like, wow, I'm an idiot.
Oh, I enjoyed it. It's definitely one of the funner ones, but it's it's sort of it's not like it's fan service the episode, but I don't know. It's definitely. I would love to hear the behind the scenes of this season. There's such a lack of polish that last year had in droves. I do think though last year they used that room a lot more because here they actually went outside.
Mm-hmm.
So they always could have, used the interior set thing and then had a really cool sci-fi planet, etc. To be a bit more elaborate or something. But Boba was cool, and I think that it was worth the whole episode just for him, and he was the focus. Although odd performance, but since he never said anything in the first 3 films, how do you even describe the guy from the first 3 films, or the first 2 films, or the second 2 films? How would you even? And so basically, he got to start fresh, because how do you possibly act a quiet guy that moves slowly that shoots well? I don't know. So they just did their own thing, and it was good. Yeah.
Wow. Sturm von Alk, though, $3. Thank you. It is all guest of the week. Mando is just there.
More this season,
yeah. Eugene, 300 rubles. The big disappointment is how Typhon was so plain looking and so easy to reach, as if it's a regular planet in the Outer Rim, not barely reachable secret location in the deep core. Yeah, and I was kind of let down by the fact that there was no Jedi temple per se. It's just this rock. How did he find the rock? Did she give him coordinates for the specific rock to find?
I assume it was just like the highest mountain that he could find. Like it was more just scan the thing for a mountain.
Maybe.
There you go. I honestly I didn't try and think about it. I was just like, he finds it. It looks nice enough though.
Yeah.
Like I thought the framing was nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like I said, seeing the gleaming white stormtrooper armor in the bright sunlight, that looked really good. I really appreciated that. But yeah, didn't know there were any CG ones.
Oh yeah, there's actually quite a lot, and all the impact stuff was CG, and just a lot of the weird. Like I said, I don't think they had access to as many as you think, and they just did some clever stuff with them. Or the armor didn't let them walk on the terrain very easily, so they realized, oh damn, we've got to do some CG people. I'll point some out because there's loads actually. It's weirdly, it's weird.
Okay.
But it's like if you're gonna use stormtroopers, make there be like dozens and dozens because a few aren't worth anything. Make it be almost like a zombie horde, of like this is a force.
But then it's even worse to explain how they all miss and can't kill the bad guys, or at least incapacitate them.
But then you just frame it so they dodge smarter. You just make it so that they're more efficient, like they're more clever. Like if you make dumb people to shoot at you, then you can dodge them by not moving. They both look stupid. If you increase the threat and then increase the cleverness of how they dodge, maybe use a force field, maybe use a cloaking shield, maybe use a hollow projector. You could do clever things with it, or just have them run at you and you shoot them. And it's weird knowing these guys are smart guys and to have them be. Just treat stormtroopers even worse than George did. Like, it's weird how they feel more capable than these guys. Isn't that weird? I guess all of the people we're watching are massively trained killers, so I guess there's probably a slight discrepancy. Like, you wouldn't associate Han with being as good as a bounty hunter level, He's not a fighter, he's a smuggler. So I guess, obviously, just the parallel is different. It's like, yeah, if you throw a prize marksman against an amateur, he's going to look a pussy. Because or a first year cadet versus an admiral. I mean, what do you expect? He'll beat the, So weird.
Stephen W. Fathry, $5. Captain, are you watching Clone Wars in chronological order or air date order? I like chronological, but you have to get the list from the official Star Wars site. I'm watching it in release order.
Didn't know there was a difference.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it the way it was presented because that's the way it should be watched.
And also lets them fix their mistakes, and you get to see the mistake and enjoy them fixing it.
Yeah, and I noticed last night there was in episode 8 of season 1. There's a TARDIS console.
Oh wow! Whoa, that's beautiful. That's amazing.
Yeah. Bombad Jedi is the name of the episode, but yeah, it's definitely just a TARDIS console, which I had to get a picture of.
That's absolutely
to show
fantastic. You. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
No, it's like I always recommend people watch TOS first because of Star Trek, because the stories are some of the best of all of Trek, and if you watch it in the way it was made, then the evolution of the universe is the organic way it was designed. If you watch Enterprise first, then there's this hard shift of like, well, why is this and this to this and this? Watch it the way it was intended, because yes, they make mistakes, but then they fix them. Like, don't skip season 1 of TNG because then you miss, then could you ever, like, if you imagine if you skip season 1 TNG, watch until season 7 and go back and watch season 1, how many people would just be dismayed by the shit in comparison? Whereas if you start on the gradient, then you love it as it goes. If you know what I mean? So it's kind of yeah.
Yeah. So guys, we have 116 people here, which is great. 76 likes, which is also great. But I think we can hit 100 likes easily. Hit that like button if you haven't already. And don't forget to super chat your comment, question, concerns, anything you noticed that we didn't, your excitement. Let us know via super chat as a way to support the channel and show your love for Mandalorian Mondays. Because we're going to finish them out, but we would like them to be, worth it for us. So if you can, please consider doing so.
So we currently need 20 times the super chat amount to be considered a worthwhile night, so keep that in mind, guys. Keep that in mind. But the first scene's great. I thought it was a lovely little introduction. Great vibe, great acting for the puppet. Much better than last week with just like non-repairing a non-thing. Like this was great,
Yeah, I like how every time he said Grogu, was like, like he's getting a kick out of calling him his name, and there's just a nice little moment between the two of them. He's like, you're a really special kid, you'll have to agree to go with them. You want to learn more of that Jedi stuff, don't you? Like he's trying to convince himself that the kid needs to go when he doesn't really want the kid to go. So I thought it was a nice little moment.
Yeah, this was both earned and sweet and simple, very effective.
Yeah.
Then they get to the planet and you get some lovely CGI. They find it instantly.
Yeah.
But they can't actually land. We've got to take a jetpack, which looks both hilarious and awesome at the same time. Very Rocket Man, I guess.
Yeah, we got to go the rest of the way with the windows down, he says. I like that.
Yeah.
And that's very Rocketeer / Iron Man.
Yes. But very direct. I mean, what was nice about this episode is that we didn't bullshit any time. We went straight into it. And I was really refreshed by that because this season has been meander. So this episode is the first one truly we've actually had plot. Like real plot progression. Except the first one with Mando appearing and getting the armor. So this was definitely one of my favorite ones because we actually got something real that was happening,
Yeah. I love how I asked the kid, does anything here look like Jedi to you? And even in the ship, he says, after that nice lady told us that you were trained, I'm sorry, but I can't keep training you. You're just too powerful. So again, a nice little moment there. So
and the dialogue is it's fun to see such a novice understander of the world of Jedi. Although I watched a really interesting video by one of the big Star Wars channels explaining the frustration about how all of the Disney Star Wars and this one have completely botched the idea of the Jedi and memory of Jedi. That this guy who was a child during the Clone Wars where there were thousands of Jedi fighting, he's like, this Force thing, even though they were around for many years of his life, and then Luke arrived and there was it's as if World War II, everyone forgot who was in World War II. It's like, you wouldn't. I know the galaxy is big, but the Jedi were the peace and guardians for 1,000 generations. You don't forget about that. And so they really dropped that ball massively with, those legends cannot disappear within one generation because, in The Force Awakens, everyone older than 20 was alive when Jedi existed, and yet they're all completely oblivious. Doesn't work. So that once I sort of realized that, it kind of broke all this new stuff for me because he's like, this Jedi stuff. But I like him being the outsider, but, his people fought the wars. The stories were with the Jedi. He should know all about them because he'd have been taught it to potentially fight them one day.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit, it's like, yeah.
The Sporkmeister throws in $2.
Thank you.
60% of the hype for me this week was cannon repair. Oh, well, yeah. Anyway, he's like, so the lady said, once we got here, it was kind of your deal, do your thing, kid. And then we get the very distinctive sound. Slave One comes in, and that pass by looked so great. I was like, is that actually Slave One, or is that just another ship that's similar? So then I thought, it's got to be Slave One because we saw Boba already, right?
And it is so maneuverable. Holy shit, in the entire thing. Like at the end where it lands on whatever planet they go to, it's absurdly maneuverable. They really made a point of making it look cool. And it is a brilliant design. It always has been a brilliant design. But its ability to turn on a bloody dime is insane. Which is awesome.
So he's like, kid, we got to go. But by this point, The rock's already been activated. It's streaming its force energy up into the sky.
Yes.
And anyway, he gets blasted back, and he's like, "All right, well, just this isn't really the time for this, but here, I'll take care of you. It's fine." And it's. I wish they would have saw two people getting out of Slave One, though. I know it's like a reveal in a half a second that it's another person there, but I think two would have been like, "What's going on? Who are these people now?" Whereas just one, it's like probably Boba Fett.
But are you implying that Lady ran out first and then ran around?
I'm not sure. Yeah, like I don't know how that worked out.
And also the framing of when Boba's like, someone's on the ridge. I'm like, oh, he's lying to bluff. Brilliant. And they say, look, and she's like on the ridge as close as possible. Like, absolutely right there. It's like, how the hell did he not notice that? So I'm sure he did. So the framing was quite awkward with that. They didn't need the sense reveal. You're absolutely right. Should have been two and should have. But I do like the reference here. It's like he recognizes this. Although I guess he doesn't. He doesn't know who Boba Fett is. Like, he doesn't know I don't know. It's weird. Like, I guess any ship, and I guess he may recognize the class. I kind of assumed, though, first watch, he's like, oh. But yeah, I guess he doesn't say the armor's Boba Fett's at any point before this.
No, I don't think he knew. No.
Oh, okay.
But no, just with the thermal scan though, and the guy coming down the ramp, it would have been cool to see like a set of footprints also, which is not pointed out, just very faint. So if you catch it, you're like, what? But it's instantly revealed like right away that there's another person with him. Yeah. If that would have been dragged out a little bit longer, I think it would have been cool to see that and be like, what's going on? So.
No, I mean, this episode, as with all of them, could have been 10 minutes longer. Give us some more fun. I mean, they filmed out Bloody Side in California. It's cheap, and you've got almost, after a certain point in the episode, everyone's a stunt double. They don't cost as much. It's cheap, it's easy. It's very bright and sunny. And then I was, I guess he doesn't know who's fighting then, by the logic of that. But he just kind of runs at them. Like, no great plan, no strategy, no jetpack, just like, I'm going to go attack them first with no recon. Apart from there's a guy. It's like, what?
Well, the first question he asks him is, are you a Jedi? Like, are you here, like, looking for the kid? Were you following me? Did Ahsoka tell you about me?
Well, I mean, before that. Like, there's no strategy. There's just, I'm going to go at you one-on-one. It's like, but you're a smart guy. Why, you're the expert hunter. But whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, then the conversation's good and instant reveal.
And then it's like, well, you're here for the child, and I want the armor. Well, you peel it off my dead body. Not your armor. I want my armor.
Yeah.
The armor you got from Cobb Vanth.
Yes.
And the whole, are you a Mandalorian? And then the exact same quote that Django said, I'm a simple man making his way through the galaxy.
Which one said that?
Django did. And,
I mean, of these two.
Oh, Boba.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah. So that was really cool.
Well, I'm wondering why he didn't ever get his armor back from Cobb. He presumably had several years, and he knew...
He did have several years, yeah.
Like, he obviously didn't want it that much, and I'm sure he could have traded for it, services. Because all he has is... I mean, he has his bloody ship. He could have...
It took him a while to track it down, like, years from the... I'd like to know what separated him from his armor. I think his armor would have aided in his escape from the Sarlacc. Because we see the digestive juices or whatever that scarred his face up. Yeah. So did he have to take it off because the acid was in it and he was burning him, so he was taking it off, and then he passed out, and then the Jawas found it, and like, there's got to be a story there how he was separated from his armor, and the fact that it could have literally taken him years to track down who had it, even though it's pretty obvious that a marshal in this no-name town has this Mandalorian armor, which you'd think people would hear about, which we talked about in that episode as well,
it's
right?
Fine if he doesn't have Slave One and none of his resources, but you have a spaceship. Scan for best. Well, I don't know if it's Beskar still or not. I guess it isn't. But you can easily scan for the tech in your armor, and I'm sure he had a transponder. So it just seems a bit odd. Like they didn't quite think it through of how and why.
Well, they mentioned the chain code later. Like you think that would be part of it as well to be able to track it down.
Yeah, he says this armor's encoded to me personally. So how did the other guy use it?
I
guess he's the guy's son.
He hacked it.
Which, hey, I'd be fine with that. I mean, actually, it would be kind of cool. If he said, It's my chain code. Oh, it's been hacked. It's like, oh, Cobb's smarter than I thought. But to see him walk up in a sand crawler robe thing, sand people robe, it's like is that all you could get after years? You have a bloody spaceship that can go anywhere. You know, like I was wondering even if you had the ship, but having the ship kind of makes everything else a bit redundant. Like, you're choosing to wear this. You could have got something else, mate, in these years. Bit weird. But I like his non-combatantness. You know, we were expecting would there be like massive fights and kind of really like. So I love the fact that they're friends, like they're allies. That is a nice, good, but it is a bit of a weird context.
Yeah. But 153 people here, 99 likes. We need one more like to get to 100. We can do that easily. And then if you haven't hit like, just consider hitting it. We also got another super chat, which is great. So Jarzia, $5. Anyone else remember the 1995 Star Wars game Dark Forces and excited to see the Dark Troopers in action beyond a little kidnapping?
Absolutely.
Yes, Dark Forces was fantastic back in the day. And I played the crap out of that. Yeah.
I mean, they were the Star Wars for a while.
Yeah.
Kyle Katarn, man. Bring in Kyle Katarn.
We're done.
Kick ass.
Yeah. Stephen W. Fathry, $5. In 1977, it's clear that Jedi faded into legend just in the 19 years of Luke's life. He and Han didn't seem to know much about them, more like myths. Yeah, that's true. And Han called it, hocus pocus or whatever. But I mean, I can see Luke not knowing about it because his uncle and aunt would have shielded him from that knowledge specifically. He might have heard whisperings from his friends, but he wouldn't necessarily have been taught about the Clone Wars and stuff. So
yeah, that was explicitly said in the video. Yeah, his part of the job was to not have him be found by Vader, and so let's not teach him about the Jedi on purpose. And Han did know about the Jedi. He just thought the powers were over exaggerated. He didn't gawk at them being Jedis or lightsabers. Just like, oh yeah, this weird old tech. It wasn't like it was fake. He knew they were real. He knew they existed. He just didn't think the powers were as legitimate as the stories.
Yeah.
But again, he was alive when Jedi were alive, and anybody do you really think with Leia's dad who fought along Jedi for 30 years, do you think he's not going to teach his daughter about the Jedi being, I had 12 Jedi friends that went on a birthday party? You know what I mean? Like, 19 years, sure, but everybody over those 19 years knew about the Jedi.
Yeah.
That knew about the Jedi. So it just happens to be on Tatooine.
Well,
he wasn't taught about them, and therefore that's the context. That scene is there to provide for the audience. But most people are over that age. Yeah.
Even the Imperial officers, though, you don't scare us with your ancient religions and whatever when they're talking to Darth Vader. Like, it's total lack of respect when they know he has the Force and probably know that he's the Emperor's sidekick.
But that's obviously the problem with it's an expositional scene to show the power. Then I mean, it's like with anything, you add canon upon canon upon canon. It's like, yeah, all those guys were alive in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And they probably would have been part of the Republic because the Republic became the Imperials. They probably served on Republic ships alongside Jedi and clones.
Yeah.
So they all had Jedi leaders. But again, in the Clone Wars, the Jedi for the most part were foot soldiers with lightsabers, not the Force. How often do you see Jedi use the Force?
Yeah.
In a battle, so I can see somewhat younger officers, but you can't rationalize. Everyone over 30, has heard stories, etc. So it's silly to say the least.
Yeah. Kai L. Wong, £5.
Thank you.
Maybe the Jawas saved his life and exchanged his armor as payment. I very much doubt that he would give up his armor to the Jawas without being able to get it back. I think he would have had a plan for that. He might have activated a tracker or something on it, which Vance disabled. I could see that. So he followed it to a certain point. And then when he finally caught up with the Sandcrawler, whenever he was healthy enough to do so, they didn't have the armor because he lost the signal at some point. And then he's like, shit. And he was roaming around looking for it and just started to narrow in on it just as Mandalorian showed up. I would maybe buy that, but I don't think that he would voluntarily give up his armor. So.
Well, but as Kai says, it life or armor.
Armor is life.
Then he dies. Yeah, well, no, I know what you mean, but he's smart enough to say, okay, fine. But you've got to sort of have the situation where it took him, 3 months to walk over the Dune Sea to get back to land, and by that time the other guy already got the armor and moved on. And then by that point, how do you track down one sandcrawler in the entire Dune Sea that you didn't actually know where? Well, I guess you knew you were at the Sarlacc pit, but so you really have to stretch that. I would love to hear the rationalization. But what amazes me is how calm this character is. It's not, I would love to hear what Jeremy Bulloch thought of the performance. I know he's less well than he used to be, but I one of the few times I appreciate that George went in and retconned every voice to be this actor. So there is for anyone over a certain age or under a certain age, this has always been Boba and Jango. Like
I was thinking that.
Okay, you're back.
I said I was thinking about that today, actually. Yeah. That's interesting.
But
actually, Joe has a good point here.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, he's interesting. Different performance was expecting.
Yeah. Joe says, I bet the Tusken Raiders pulled him out of the remains from the remains of the pit. I can see the Tusken Raiders actually, like, he got partially out and then passed out. They found his body. They took him back to their camp. They took his armor off to heal him up. The Jawas came by, as they do, because they trade. They saw the armor, said, did their little Jawa speech. I want the armor. Tuskens are like, okay, take it. We want some more bantha sticks, Jeff, whatever they're called. Traded it for something, and then he had no idea where it went when he regained consciousness. I would totally buy that as well. Well, there's got to be a good story there.
And that's actually great, because if you bounce off that and say, he's a great warrior and obviously best in this episode for sure, but you can't cross the Dune Sea without water, and the Dune Sea is the entire planet, give or take. So I actually would kind of buy that the reason it took him so long is because he was saved by Tuskens. He helped the Tuskens, but they don't use speeders, and so they were never going in the direction of people, and so he couldn't barter enough food and drink to get to physically walk or ride back to camp. So he had to stay with them for several weeks, healing, using their food and drink and such until a certain point, and then by that point things had moved on. That's great, actually. I like that, because he's a smart guy, and his ship is somewhere, he's somewhere, and his bar tab at the Jabba's palace has now been wiped clean because he's dead. So that's fun. Cool.
Area 51, $5. Another busy day. Catch you later. I guess he's going to watch later, but thank you very much for showing up and super chatting, Area 51. 155 people here, which is great. We can hit 130 likes easily, so hit that like button.
Absolutely.
And Captain Chili Bina, $2. Boba's staff hammer weapon was brutally awesome. Yeah. It was actually quite effective.
Yeah. No, and brutal's a good word. But then it's like, hand versus laser weapons. It's like, oh, he's dead. But yeah, it was good.
And it's the conceit of everybody waiting to shoot, and everybody attacking one-on-one. It's that whole thing.
It's spectacle over logic, but it was interesting, and it certainly justified him using his stuff. Although he didn't use the gun he had at any point, just the stick. But I mean, they definitely wanted to show he can use everything.
But then the whole, are you Mandalorian? He's like, I don't give my allegiance to anyone. But he's like, well, all Beskar was looted from the Mandalorians during the Purge. It belongs to me. Then the whole, my father's armor. And the whole, if you shoot me, before my body hits the ground, there's going to be a whole clip unloaded from up on the ridge, but not at you, at your little buddy over there, which you would think it wouldn't matter at this point anyway, because of the Force things. Like Boba Fett or Mandalorian couldn't get through it, so I doubt very much the bullets would, but nobody knows that at this point. So
I was wondering that, but I don't know. I think it was more just a force field of like people
plot device.
Well, no, I bet if there was a bomb in it, it wouldn't, like, it's not a full energy force. It's more of a just power of the force. But if they'd bombed it, it would have beaten it. I don't think it's literally a force field. And I bet if Mand was actually a force wielder, he could have like gone in as well. But I mean, the fact that he, well, obviously we don't know either way. He didn't know either way. That's why he didn't actually, do anything. But that was a nice twist though. It's like, I mean, you're fine, and also you've got bulletproof armor. The kid's gonna get killed. But yeah, when they say on the ridge and they cut to it, it's like, oh, the ridge 4 meters away.
Yeah.
It's such a stupid edit. I was expecting literally a mountain away in a really cool scene would go and it's like, oh wow. It's like, nope, right there.
He recognizes her voice right away. Yeah. It's Fennec Shand, which at the end of that episode we heard the guy walk up to the body, and you heard the jangling. So yeah.
Although she gets no part this week, like she's so. I know she's now a robot cyborg, which is kind of cool, but she is given nothing. I know she's gonna be more. Although I know the actress from Stargate Universe, so I got a fondness for her, but I wasn't given really anything to do. But she's now kind of his disciple, robot assassin helper disciple. It's like, okay, cool.
The Sporkmeister, $2. Probably with Tuskens that Mando and Cobb work with.
Yeah, possibly.
And Dave Bessig, $5. Hey guys, episode was epic. Dark Troopers are back. Very worried about Baby Yoda because of the I don't know what ST means. We know the Imperials succeed to some extent. Well, yeah, they just need the little guy's blood for his M count, which is a chlorian count. But anyway, I'm sure he'll be fine. Don't worry. The fact that he recognizes the voice is interesting. But
or at least through the helmet speakers and such.
Yeah. He's got the what are they called? Birds. Flying birds, the rockets, ready to go to take them both out. But then Boba Fett's like, just whoa, let's all just sit down and have a nice little chat. Let's be friends. And I love how Boba Fett, he kind of went against my what I expected of him this week.
Yep.
And yeah, hopefully that keeps up. And even the fact that yes, even though I've got my armor back, we're gonna abide by what we said. And once the little guys, until then we're in your debt. It's like, wow.
It's fair to say the character subverted expectations drastically.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like, oh. But like I said, you can't really get a baseline on him in the original. The character is the armor. There's no other character within the armor. He's both awesome and goes out like a bitch. So there's nothing there. Django gets some personality, obviously played by the same actor 20 years ago, and the kid Boba is a kid. There's nothing else there either. Obviously reprising the Clone Wars and Rebels a little bit, for whatever that is. But this guy obviously has had a pretty hard year, or 2 years. But he's he's obviously not back to bounty hunting, so he's just like, I want my legendary armor, and so I'm fighting a guy with full bulletproof armor, all of the guns, and a ship. I'm just gonna talk. I'm not, although if you'd just said my dad was a foundling,
would have solved everything a lot quicker.
Would have really sped it up. Even though he did say Jango Fett, but that doesn't mean anything to him apparently. So there's a few weird I like all the scenes, but there's definitely let's pad this a little bit. And then she's revealed as a robot for some reason. She's like, oh.
Well, that's where the damage was, I guess. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, because it was meant to be a death blow last time.
Before the thing too is like, drop your gun, well, put your backpack down or your jetpack. It's like, okay, well, that's convenient. And then he never grabs it again. Like, it's resting on this rock. You can grab it multiple times, probably.
Yeah.
Just put it back on, and it would have made the ending a lot different.
Oh god.
Plus, just to put it back on to face the stormtroopers, you got aerial advantage over them. You could pick them off from,
I mean, it's definitely worth his time investment, especially since all of his possessions get blown up. You would think you only have 4 bits of technology in the world. Pick it up, and even now use the gauntlet spikes. Like, that was a one-use weapon each time. So you're basically running out of everything. Pick up the blade. I'm sure he did, obviously, but for sure. And then troop transport comes in, and I like that it is clearly a version of the Force Awakens one that launches Kylo Ren. Similar-esque design. So I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah. I saw it come in, I'm like, who the hell is this now? I expected another bounty hunter or a Jedi or something.
We never get that moment, but I'm assuming a Jedi is going to come in and help save him at the end. Because it'd be kind of nice then if they can't take on the Imperials because they're that strong, and you need that Jedi who's tracking him down, either Luke or one of the other ones. Not Ahsoka. We've seen Ahsoka. Like it'd be anticlimactic to have the woman that said, "Nah, I'm good," to like, "Hey, I'm back." Why? Plot. It's like, well, no, you could just come with me then, couldn't you? You weren't busy. And I was thinking when it landed, like, why aren't they using their cannons to shoot the people? Why aren't they landing more than one? It feels so weird to land a single troop transport when we know how pointless they are. Like I want to see a big force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did see the big force. It's on the rock all around Baby Yoda.
But
Dave Bessick, $5. Actually, sorry, Kai Al Wong, £5.
Thank you.
So it looks like Mando is creating his own Suicide Squad to save Grogu.
Yeah.
Who else besides Bill Burr do you think will be part of the team? I'm sure Cara Dune might tag along.
Well, no, she can't though because she's now rebelling.
But that's before she knew that they took the kid. Because once he said that, she got serious, and then it's cut.
Yeah, that's true.
Because she likes little guys. So
well, everyone does. That's the core thing. I mean this is what happens every season. As in, it has happened once before. Is to bring the band back together. The band's just bigger this year. Although I wouldn't think they would bring the guy from episode 1 in purely because Tatooine is the edge of the galaxy, and why are you wasting time traveling when every minute could be important? It's like saying, let's travel 8 hours out of our way and then 8 hours back to then track them. Oh wait, he's dead. Oh, Baby Yoda got killed in the meantime. So it's just too far out. Obviously, Star Wars often doesn't care about travel or distance. They just can go places instantly. I wouldn't even be surprised if he suddenly cuts to him being on the ship and it's like, how did you get here? Got a lift. It's like, but hopefully he's a sort of season 3 character.
Yeah. David Bessick, though, $5. The troop transports were unused concept art for episode 7. It's in the art book. Looks great.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the stuff in this series is that.
And actually, I like the link to episode 7 because it makes sense. Yeah, First Order used the exact same tech as the Imperials, just an evolution. And since the First Order was just Emperor Palpatine again, same tech.
Captain Chili Beana puts in $2.
Awesome name.
I kept yelling, "Your jetpack! Grab your jetpack!"
Yeah,
I know, right? It's just frustrating sometimes.
Well, speaking of frustrating, this is when the Mandalorian's brain becomes mushy. Because how many times does he try the exact same thing with the same result and get
3
and get flung, and at the last time gets knocked out?
Well, he's desperate to get the kid out of here. Like, that's the thing. And the point that pisses me off is after the last time, he literally leaves, and just as he's going down the hill, the thing stops, and Baby Yoda like, okay, turn the fuck around, go get the kid, and go. Anyway.
But it's they didn't know they had nothing for him to do this week. Like, they didn't want to give him anything of any urgency, so they just didn't have him do anything interesting. But also, it was kind of nice to have Baby Yoda just out of the picture, because then we got time for the more interesting characters, like active characters, and that was very deliberate, obviously. Although nothing really happened with that per se, just.
And Neil Henderson said he never said Grogu, though. Yes, he did twice at the very beginning of the episode. Dan23 puts in £2. I'm not sure the live chat is posting comments. Yep, it is. I don't know if you've been commenting, Dan, but there's a lot of people in there chatting around away. So
good comment from Super Bat says there are Quinton they're Quinton light cruisers. They don't have a small amount of troops. It's not like a Star Destroyer with thousands of troops, but only 100, 200 at least. That is true. So setting down your limited troops, although you would think you send out your biggest people first. It's like in any war film. I know the idea is use the boss battle at the end, but if you send the boss first, you might save dozens of lives that would be useful for other battles. Maybe don't sacrifice all of your pawns to save a thing you won't bother using. Maybe send them all at the same time to make it even harder. There should have been one Dark Trooper. Like, there should have been a fun introduction of this is the Dark Trooper. And we're like, oh my god, there's one of them. And it's really hard to beat. But they beat as a team, and then 4 more come down. It's like, that was harder blood enough. I think that would have been a much stronger way of doing the episode. Personally. Yeah. Would have been cool.
Well, here we get the Stormtroopers advancement and the I mean, both him and the lady are shooting them with their long rifles.
Here is your first set of CGI stormtroopers. All the guys running out of the thing are CGI. The ship CGI, the people CGI, that guy on the left does not look right. Like his proportions are wrong and his armor's wrong. So that's all CGI. The way they run out is all. I mean, this entire bit is CGI. Like there isn't any stormtroopers here.
Well, they didn't have the actual physical prop of the ship on site. That's why.
Yeah. So that was blatant CG, and then obviously once they started getting actually onto location, it's a bit more real, which is good. But there's so few of them.
Yeah.
Oh, he does use the gun. Okay, he does use the gun. I didn't think he did.
Yeah, he does.
Okay.
BJ Turon, $2. Really enjoying Mandalorian classic Western. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I did like they had a commander, from the first two. I liked he was
flank them, you idiot.
Yeah, I liked he was almost a boss. Like I kind of wanted him to have a real hand-to-hand fight with Boba, which he almost did, but they kind of went one step, without doing that. Almost did to give us some semblance of cool. But yeah, just the fact that the lady just snipes them absolutely effortlessly is boring, honestly. And I mean, come on, this show is a fan film. This show is just 4 stormtroopers in a field. Like, it's just like I could shoot that as well. It is not hard. Which is kind of that's the irony. Like fans are gonna have perfect armor too, and these may be 501st.
They probably are. That's what they did for season 1.
Yeah, but I mean, save them some money.
David Bessig, $5.
Thanks, David.
I think it really shows how bad the Stormy's training has fallen. It speaks to the fact the Empire is in tatters. All the good ones went to the
First Order.
First Order. Gotcha. I mean, yeah, this is years after the Empire is supposed to be gone, and that's even brought up in a second with Boba Fett, where he follows them up and says, "Oh, they're back, the Empire." You think that the troop transports and the stormtroopers might have been a clue, but anywho.
Yeah, and you would assume though that since Moff Gideon is the one in charge, and therefore not some big Imperial entity, he would insist on better training because he only has, 500 stormtroopers. Yeah. He would insist on absolutely getting them better because he has so few. And they want, and he could obviously take over what's left of the Empire. Like, no, you'd be the opposite. You wouldn't be like, oh yeah, the Empire's dead. Let's hire shittier troopers. You'd be like, no, I need to have the best people.
Yeah.
So the absolute opposite. And since it isn't a government agency, hire a bounty hunter, train them all. Yeah. So it's actually worse that they're this. It's fine when you had season 1 where they're the dirty guys. Those
that I liked. Yeah.
Then you're assuming. Yeah, they are just like barely stormed. They're just like, the last 20.
Mercenaries. They have nothing else to do because the Empire's gone, so they just hire themselves out.
Although it was revealed they were just Moff Gideon's troops, just dirty for some reason. It's like, oh, well, okay. Retcon. But I mean, it's good classic visuals. This armor looks great. The guns look great. The fighting's fun. Like I say, a lot of CGI. Every time he bashes one, there's some fun ragdoll physics and stuff. It's very CGI heavy. So it takes me out of it because I can see every single time. It's nice enough.
I enjoyed a lot of the fight sequences.
I did too.
Even one guy got smashed, hit a rock, and then hit the other rock and folded each time. It was great.
Well, as you say, there's that shot. The armor is broken apart. It's like so it can't survive weapons or any hand weapons.
It's useless. One hit, you're done.
Absolutely useless. Yeah. Like, it would have been great if he had bashed them and they'd all actually got up after a while. It's like, yeah, okay, blunt force trauma, I've got them down, I've stunned them. And then more just keep coming, etc. And then, then it's just sniper rally,
Well, we get one, mortar placement.
Which was interesting.
With the yellow, looked really cool.
Never seen that before as far as I can remember. That was really cool.
Yeah, the mortar was great. And then we got the big gun.
Yep.
Which gets crushed by a boulder, which is actually kind of hilarious. You keep shooting it what are you expecting to turn it into a pebble by the time it gets to you?
But it did get a lot smaller, to be fair. It almost worked.
Well, I guess. But how many stormtroopers are running away from it, directly in its path instead of just turning? And then the guy standing behind the gun, at some certain point, you're going to go and jump out of the way because that's what you would do instinct-wise. Sorry.
And I like these turrets a lot, but I found it odd that the sniper lady is shooting everyone but the guys building the one weapon that's effective against you. It's like
I think she noticed it just as they kind of got it assembled, and then like that's when they focus on her, like seeing them through the scope.
But there's some of the troopers closest to her. Like they had to run with the gun from the ship to that place while she was shooting other troopers. Like it's a weird. Like I wish it was right from the ship. Like we'd seen two guys come out, drop it down, boom, start shooting. But the fact that they are literally ahead of other people, that she chose not to kill them. I mean, they weren't a threat until the gun turned up. But it's like there's very little choreography here. I guess I get the sense they basically just went on set and just did it on the fly in a day. Like, okay, let's just do a scene. Okay, we've got this rock, we've got this thing. Let's do a thing. But you know, if I was them, I would have had like multiple emplacements. I would have had a really cool sequence. You know. Yeah.
George Mangrum, $2.
Thank you.
What was with fuzzy edges on some of the frames? Yeah, I noticed that. It almost seems like it was from the stormtrooper's perspective, because the edge of some of the frames, especially when they're going up the hill, you see like it's fuzzy. Okay. I just assumed it was that. I didn't even notice it the first time.
No, I didn't notice it. Oh.
Yeah. The other thing I hated about the big gun though was when she was running along the ridge, it was hitting like below her the whole time. Like if you're firing a gun, and we've both fired guns, you're especially like a repeater like that, or like even just playing Call of Duty, you lift it up as you go because you can see where they're going, but they just steady line straight across. It's nothing wrong with the direction per se. It's just a conceit of TV and movies, unfortunately.
But it's sad because this show is better than that in season 1.
It would have been better if they were missing and not hitting the rocks. Like hitting the rocks for the first, as she was running the first little bit, like right behind her, and then all of a sudden you see the bolts like heading over the rock behind her, because they're adjusting, but they don't. They just straight along the rock edge.
Well, I was expecting to run, because not run over it, just run behind the rock. Just being cover. And talk about CGI, when the boulder is going down, like these stormtroopers look so CGI, and the boulder's so CGI, it's really blatant. It's like all the cool action bits with the stormtroopers all CGI. It's like I can see it. It looks like a video game. It's weird, strange. Kept taking me out of it.
Cool. Captain Chili Beana, $2. Boulder reminded me of a Japanese ninja warrior show. Oh yes.
Well, speaking of ninja, he absolute whacks the commander guy in a fun little moment. And it really is. This episode really is just the Boba Fett can single-handedly kick ass episode, and that's great.
Yes,
that's absolutely fine with that.
It's about time.
Seriously, but pacing here was a bit strange. So he takes them out. He has great hero bad boys shot, and then suddenly another set of troopers, even though they're coming from multiple directions. Only one ship has landed, and they all came out. So why are there now another 10 troopers? It was a really bad editing choice. It's like, but you
could have been another ship landed on the other side of the ridge that we didn't see, but they don't clarify, So.
But they make a big deal out of the second ship coming down because it's the next thing. They're like,
yeah,
got a second ship, so it is another bad editing choice. Like I said, I would have loved to have seen like 5 or 6 ships, like a long shot, and like everywhere around the mountain, ships have landed, and people just going in, and you get this real sense of. And then because they do retreat at the end, like they still don't kill them all. 2 ships worth of people, they massacre 3 dozen, and there's still people left over to run away. So they could have had like 200 troopers, because the Dark Troopers do the story thing. Like that would have been really kind of cool, and they could be CGI. That's fine because there's just so many.
BJ Turan, $5.
Thank you.
Stormtroopers wiped out by voice of Mulan's boulder, much like her avalanche in the animated film Mulan. Yeah. No, but the other ship landing between the first transport and the Razor Crest was a great shot.
Yep.
And you got to appreciate all the beauty passes you got of the Razor Crest coming into the planet this episode, and it looks so great. It is so pristine here. It's like, oh, it's such a shame.
It'll last for years.
Yes.
But certainly in this moment, especially, you're thinking, why isn't the second ship just landing, lifting, and shooting its big guns? Because they've just lost 20 troopers. They're being massacred. You're not after them. Shoot them. Kill them. You wait. Why? You've got, don't include guns on the ships if you're not going to use them. It makes you look stupid. It's weird.
Yeah. Matthew K, $5.
Thank you.
I'm late, so put this way... but this way I get to hear my name in about 50 minutes. Well, Matthew K, thank you very much for the super chat. Very appreciated.
Matthew K. Matthew K. Matthew K. Okay, Stuart, let's both invent a second name for Matthew with K, and then let's see if how right we get it, so he can tell us in another 50 minutes. What do you think Matthew's surname should be?
Kurtzman.
And now he's desubscribed.
King.
Ooh. I'm going to say Kensington. Matthew Kensington.
Ooh, that's like all regal and British and shit. Clown. With a K. I'm just kidding, Matthew.
No, Clune. But you said it spelled clown. Anyway.
Anywho, yeah, so the Mandalorian tries again to get to get Grogu out of the thing, and anyway, it says takes off, and just as he leaves, we're not really sure how much time has passed, but he's probably like 20 meters away down the hill by the feel of it.
If there was a sound, he would hear it not being a sound anymore.
Yes,
sort of distance.
And Baby Yoda kind of like from just being tired. Yeah, yes. And I was yelling at this point, like, go back, let's get him now.
Yes. And then you get the weird sequence of stormtroopers that are physically close to them and not shooting. It's like, why? I mean,
and each shot that she does hits the lower part of the helmet.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, it's just crap as a fight. This bit especially. Because you can only block one angle. How is she not getting murdered with everyone else?
Yeah. And then the stormtroopers say, just give up. We don't want you. We only want the child. So, okay. And then the Mandalorian shows up, uses his whistling birds or whatever they are, takes out all the squad of stormtroopers. And then, for some reason, the stormtroopers can only hit Beskar.
Yes.
There's a lady right with him.
Yes.
Who's not getting hit once.
No, despite there being two sides of stormtroopers and there's two sides of people.
And they're moving around each other. And, yeah. So, I guess Beskar is a blaster magnet?
Yes.
Maybe.
It's very poorly choreographed. It's really poorly choreographed. And there's so many of the stormtroopers. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
But then, the fat Boba Fett shows up because, boy, Boba's fat now. And that's all I could think in this first initial shot. Because Boba's thin in the original movies. He's a lean guy. He's a fat guy now. It's like, oh.
Well, I was lean back then, too, and I'm fat now, so shut up.
But do you know what I mean? He looks like a real, like, beer belly fan film Boba Fett. It's like they almost should have put a second guy in the costume to actually be, like, more medium. Because you can't tell when he's wearing the robe how big he is. He's real big now. It's just like,
I don't think he's real big. Anyway.
He doesn't look good in the armor. Like, he doesn't look good anymore.
My question is, where the fuck did the new missile come from? Which is a Boba Fett style missile.
Yes.
Could be he had it with him. Fine, sure, under his robe maybe, to impress the ladies. But
what's that in your pocket? Is it a custom jetpack rocket? Well,
yes,
it is. Oh, that was a shot off the dart. Wow.
Yeah, it will be a shot off in the dark later, baby. Anyway, or it could be that Mandalorian replaced it with armor or missiles he had in the Razor Crest, I guess. Anyway,
exact one. I mean, my assumption though is that he probably just jetpacked from Razor Crest to Slave 1, which would have taken under 2 minutes, and then said, I'll need this. And because obviously it's his ship, he'll have replacements of his own weapons, so he probably just slipped one back in. Because he also, is he going to strip out the robe and leave it in, is he leaving all his kit in the Razor Crest? He probably took all his kit back to his own ship, dropped it off, grabbed, because he didn't have that blaster, did he? Or the holster. Because I don't think, because his original armor didn't have I don't think his original armor from Empire had a pistol. I think it only had the rifle. I don't remember. He never used a pistol. I remember that.
I think it did have a holster, actually.
Okay. But then you get Boba kicking as much. I just wish he wasn't so fat. But he kicks so much ass here, and it's great. It is just a guy shooting, and everyone else, it's not... The way it's handled is, he's awesome, but he's just shooting guns. Anybody can shoot guns. Although I do like the fact that his knee is a gun. I really like that moment, because it shows that he is a bloody kick-ass guy, because he's prepped. And so when his knee is a gun, it's like, yes!
Well, did you get to see what the armor is made for? You saw all this stuff on Boba Fett before, and you're like, like to see that used. He never uses his flamethrower. He never, because we've seen Mandalorian use that.
Yeah, that was Mando, Django that used it.
But yeah, he uses the rockets in the gauntlet.
Yep.
He uses the one gauntlet to punch a stormtrooper, which is really impressive. I like that move.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the knee thing was great. I don't know why all the other. He fired the 2 missiles he had in his knee, and then everybody behind the other 2 stormtroopers runs away. Well, just keep charging him. He's going to run out of shit.
I mean, to be fair, they may recognize Boba Fett. It's only been a couple of years since he was the most famous bounty hunter in the galaxy. So I could see him being on posters, etc. You know, so I did like this scene a lot because yeah, it's like this armor is finally being used for the first time ever.
And we see him use his missile finally because they all take off.
Very CGI stormtroopers. Sorry.
Even though Vance Cobb has already done this, so we did see it. We get to see Boba Fett do it, and I'm like, hopefully those 2 ships go down with 1 missile, and sure enough, but then I was aiming for the other one. Like, really? Anyway, it was good.
Yeah, and that was that moment is like, because again, he's just shooting his gun, and everyone can do that, but that's him actually showing real skill. That's a long range, and the way he does that classic.
Well, the walk up was really impressive. Yeah.
Because that's the thing, he should be bloody amazing. You know?
Yeah.
Like they're going to throw. Well, I mean, to be fair, they've now got Dark Troopers. They have some very high end ordnance. So I'm looking forward to seeing how do you fight this guy, because this guy was the best of the best for a reason. We never saw the reason, but he was meant to be.
I thought he was just saying I was aiming for the other one, but if you actually watch it, he was aiming for the one closest to him.
Oh, okay.
Because you see the 2 of them, and then it goes like this to the one, and then it hits the other one. It's like, okay, what the hell? The Sporkmeister puts in $2, hoping Boba looks a lot thinner without the robe. You were hoping. Oh. I mean, yeah.
Because it's just in a 3-shot. You got the lady's very thin and fits the armor well. Mandalorian, it's kind of balanced for him. But obviously, this armor was designed for Jeremy Bulloch, who was a thin guy in his 30s in 1977. It's not designed for, you know what I mean? Like it was never designed for this sort of body build, and so it looks like dad bod guy. Not as a bad thing per se. He's just not as opposing. Like he doesn't look as good as he could. But in fact, like the way he's got he put it on over like a robe. Like it's obviously it's a kit bashed version. So hopefully next week he'll have it all rebalanced, and he'll be walk out and be like, ooh, baby.
Yeah.
This is the intention.
Sure he will. I'm sure he'll look different next week for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably be repainted too. I was wondering if he's going to repaint it.
Oh,
it'd be cool to have it brand new repainted. That'd be awesome.
That could be kind of cool. I mean, obviously this is his dad's armor. Like the pride he should feel.
But he repainted it from the blue and gray that his dad had to his colors. So I can see him now after Vance Cobb fucked it up. I'm going to repaint it.
And to be fair though, that doubles down, because if you think about how many years he was a bounty hunter, a lot of years, and it was bloody great looking in Empire. I don't think he never got in a situation where it got damaged. Like it wasn't immaculate, but it was.
It had lots of paint chips and problems with it in Empire, and even the big dent in the helmet. If it is Beskar, that means something serious almost got his head. But we need to learn the story behind that dent.
But it should have looked more like this. This feels degraded. So I could see him doing something with it to kind of bring it. Can we even the chest plate is coming off for some reason? It's not in the best shape, so it'd definitely be satisfying to watch him physically repair it and kind of be because this is a big deal. He can't really be Boba Fett until he gets his armor back. He's a Fett because of his dad. He's waiting for that.
Kenshi 2K7 $5.
Thank you.
If you look at the targeting computer, he actually was aiming for the other one. LOL. Yeah, absolutely. Fleet Paw Swiftback $2. Never fear, Fleet Paw's here. Good for you to show up. Thanks, man.
And I was fearing, so I appreciate my lack of fear now. I feel much more.
Oh, but then.
Oh.
And this is orbital bombardment done right, unlike last episode of Discovery.
Yeah.
Because even when you see the ship, it's got that haze and stuff. You don't really get a good view of it. But boom, this Razor Crest gone. and like gone. It's not like there's parts everywhere that could be reassembled in 3 episodes, because that would have probably happened normally. It's vaporized.
This was sad.
It was.
Because this is one of the best things in the entire show is this ship. Hands down, like, top 3 things. Like, the music for you and J.J. Abrams is one of the best things, and it stands out. This is, like, the ship. Yeah. Now, obviously, it is still a ship design that is mass-produced, so he could buy another one, you know what I mean? But as a way of forcing him to be on Slave One and make Slave One the hero, you can imagine that Dave Filoni and such picked all this because they wanted to use Boba Fett. That was their end goal. To fly around Boba Fett on Slave One, that's the imagery they wanted to use. They had to invent an in-between one first. And this is their excuse for at least a couple of episodes.
A lot of people have been speculating that Boba Fett's going to get killed, and so Mandalorian's going to continue with Slave One, or that Slave One's going to be gifted to Mandalorian from Boba Fett, which I can't see happening.
No, no. But that was also his father's ship.
I can see Fett being taken out, though, and him taking the ship over.
No, Fett is a far better warrior than Mandalorian is, so Fett would win, and he's like, he will be the. I mean, obviously he's rusty, but no, I can just see them getting into a situation. Honestly, I can see it being that like they steal Moff Gideon's private ship, like his little personal thing. On it is like his stash of money. He goes to a spaceport because he's got lots of fuel and buys a new Razor Crest because like it's a ship that exists. Like he just buys a new one and he's like, this is too nice looking. And he spends like, we see the episode where like, downgrades it to his own personal specs because he's like, I can see that happening. Definitely nothing like he's never gonna get Slave One. I think that's it's like killing the old character to prove the new character's good. It's like, no, that's the other dude's property. Let's not fuck with that, It's like giving Rey Luke's X-Wing for the holiday special. It's like, no, that's not really appropriate. That's not okay. But destroying the ship was awful, horrible. But then obviously you think, why aren't they just shooting them? Like they can clearly shoot a stationary target, just bomb.
No, because the Razor Crest had a tracking beacon on it, so they have a precise lock on the Razor Crest. Yeah, that's why. Because that's why they didn't destroy. That's why they didn't destroy Slave One. She said, you better get to your ship," and he takes off right away. I just assumed it was because they literally have a tracking beacon on the Razor Crest.
Yeah, but they've had multiple minutes to scan the area and pinpoint locations. I mean, nothing's moving, and even them moving slowly. They just bomb the planet. I mean, I'm sure they can bomb this 10-mile radius with enough weapons to kill them. It's just, that's the problem with using a weapon like this. It's like, use it the whole time, then bomb them, kill them, you're done.
Yeah.
But yeah, real sad.
Eugene, 200 rubles. I can see Slave One happening, but only if Slave 2 happens. Slave 2 was awful. Shit design.
Oh, there was a Slave 2?
Oh, yes, there was.
I haven't seen Slave 2.
Oh, look it up. It's a piece of shit. Olivia Julius is here. $5. Hey. Thank you very much, Olivia. Make sure you all hit like. The pug might not be in this universe, but I'm sure something can eat you if you don't. Thank you, Olivia.
Awful design.
That's what I said. You didn't believe me.
Well, I'd never heard of it before. That's really bad.
Yep. It was in one of the comics, I think, or something. I remember seeing it like years and years ago, and I'm like, that's not good. No,
that's like
please stop.
That's like easily.
There's also a Slave 3 and 4 as well.
That's actually worse than Discovery design.
Yeah.
Like Discovery looked good. Wow. That's bad. But we get a beautiful shot of the ship in orbit, or actually in the atmosphere. And it looks like a miniature. For the most part.
And that's how a ship in orbit should look, not like last week on Discovery.
In atmosphere, because it's clearly in the atmosphere. It's clearly, for a ship, it's clearly close to the surface. Yeah, this is how last week should have been. And then you get... This is, though, one of those situations where they built these interior sets for episodes, all the last 3. So this set is like, oh my god, a real set. Well, yeah, because it's going to be used for the next 3 episodes. They word the budget, obviously used previously as well. But this was nice to see, like, a bit of scale, a bit of fancy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of wondering why I don't use more of the Force Awakens costume and prop, and I know it's a slightly different era, but you can modify those sets. Would be nice to see more of that. But yeah, and then all of a sudden, what happens?
The Dark Troopers get launched. 4 of them.
And it's really abrupt. There's no warning. You're just kind of like, let's launch the first strike weapon we should have used originally.
Yeah. And it's like a Iron Man version of Darth Vader, which is cool. But they start running up the ridge. It's like, fuck's sakes, go get your jetpack. Because you would have had a chance to get to Grogu before they did.
Yes.
But anyway, we needed a reason to have him take it off. So, whatever.
And obviously, for me, Dark Troopers are I know there's lots of variations of them, but when I've fought Dark Troopers, etc., they're people, they're cyborgs rather than fully machines. So I didn't, I was a bit less impressed by just being robots, because there's loads of robots in the Star Wars universe, so it's less impressive as a concept. I know they're fighting robots, but the entire prequels were fighting droids, and droids were set up to kill Jedi. And Grievous was, Grievous is more impressive than these guys, in concept. Obviously, he was special, but I was kind of hoping they were the classic Dark Troopers rather than the robot versions. Yeah. But, yeah, here we go, some robots.
Didn't hear any of that. I heard like that. Anywho. Yeah, so they scoop up Grogu and they take off.
And it takes seconds.
And they're pretty impressive looking. They're imposing for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a good design.
Yes.
But yeah, it's incredibly easy. And it's like, you should have done that in the first place. Like, why don't you send down Troopers and the Dark Troopers at the same time?
Like, do this. Yeah, do this. Well, yeah, exactly. Everything else is going on. Keep them occupied. They wouldn't even know that they got Grogu. Although, that being said, the beam was active or whatever. But whatever. Would have been interesting to see a few Dark Troopers try to get him out of the beam and get thrown back.
It was very much a cinematic, don't think about it, we want a cool moment. And also it was weird to just throw 4 in, because last week we didn't even show a clear look. So we haven't to set them up to the audience. Obviously, you're obviously a fan of Star Wars to watch this, but this is very abstract for the film to suddenly do. It's like a real left turn. Obviously, we kind of know a bit about them, having fought them in video games and such, but they should have set up a bit more. Set up a bit more, especially. But, we will get... this episode kind of jumps the shark and lets the next 2 take us in gently, ironically. But yeah. And then we get beautiful Slave One visual effects. Gorgeous. And inside the cockpit, that's great to see.
Yeah, and that's why he says I got them targeted. I'm not going to let them get away. But then it's like, don't stop. I don't want the child harm. She's like, stand down, disengage, don't harm the child. Copy that. I'll do a loose follow and see where they're headed. And he finds out that the Empire's back, essentially. And then he veers away from the ship. It's like, why aren't they shooting him? Like, they must be able to track this ship coming up.
Yeah, it's like he should be able to detect this ship in orbit in the atmosphere, because ships give off lots of signatures. You would think, but yeah, like Boba is taking orders in a sense from his underling robot that he's converted. That felt a bit odd. It's like, why is partner? Yeah, but she doesn't do anything like in a controlled way. And why isn't he shooting the ship just for funsies? It's like, just shoot the ship, like disable it. You've got Slave One, you know how to use it. He's got very powerful weapons. Shoot the damn cruiser. Like, if you wanted to, you could probably...
I don't think it'd be a match against a cruiser, though. Like, I'm sure that he didn't do it because he didn't want to be a target. But I just don't know why the ship didn't, because he gets very close to it and then veers away.
Well, remember, this is only a light cruiser, and Slave One is specifically a...
True, I guess.
Very, very... And also, remember we saw last week with Discovery, a small ship can take on a big ship. And obviously, Star Wars Episode 4, I wouldn't be surprised at all this ship could take out this cruiser, obviously, in a very good maneuver. But it was weird. It's like, we're introducing this thing, and then Boba's like, it's fine.
And then the shot of it going, like, warping out, or not warping out, hyperspacing out was nice. Anyway, that was a nice shot. Eugene, 100 rubles.
Hey.
Good thing about droids, the possibility of awesome dismemberment show. See, that's the thing about dismemberment. I think the Darksaber is going to be able to cut through Beskar, and the way we're going to find that out is we know that Beskar can stop lightsabers, but considering the Darksaber was made by a Mandalorian Jedi, I think it would be practical that it could either at least damage Beskar or cut through it. And I think we're going to find that out with the spear. They're going to try to block the Darksaber, and it's going to slice right through the Beskar. And I think Mandalorian's going to lose an arm or a hand because it goes to block. And it's this Star Wars trope. He's got to lose a hand, then by next season he's got a robotic hand made of Beskar or something.
Jesus.
I don't know.
Sorry, you love saying Beskar, don't you?
About. Beskar.
So we know it couldn't go through it unless he modifies it. Now that would be a nice, because currently Gideon is not a very impressive villain, right? Especially as Dark Troopers have existed for a long time. He didn't invent them, obviously. You know, he's not a scientist, etc. And his real plan is to the blood to make, you know, like he's both doing the robots, which he didn't invent, and force sensitive somebody, which is the impressive thing. So yeah, if they do explicitly say, I was the one that found out how to modify the Darksaber, I was the one that made it impervious, you know, this, maybe not cut Beskar, but it can like start slicing, you know, so this is now more powerful than it's ever been. That would be a fun moment for sure. Not against another lightsaber, obviously, because that's the whole point, but I could see that being, you know, like causing dents and enough damage.
Yeah.
But make that a specific plot point of like, I improved it.
Yeah, and it's going to be found out with either the spear trying to block it or the gauntlets again, and it's going to be like, oh shit.
Yeah,
or
no,
something,
I can see a thing where he's fighting, he goes down, and then he, whatever, and as he goes away, you see just this cut. It's like, what? And he's like, oh no, and then he only takes like 4 or 5 hits, and it just snaps, and it's like, well, now I've got 2. Now they're gone. That was it. That was my, you know.
Yep.
So that gives him that you know, first boss fight level, and he's like, well, I'm not gonna rest my armor. Long range time. Yeah, that could be fun.
Yeah, but I think the spear is going to be important in a fight later.
Yeah.
Fleet Paw Swiftback, $5. Yes. They look like TOS Cylons crossed with T-800 Terminators.
Yep.
And those massive battle droids from the prequel trilogy. Yeah, absolutely they do.
Yeah.
And Kevin Scott, 76, $2. Next, they assemble the Avengers and fight Gideon.
Yeah.
Well, oh, we got Fleet Paw again with $2.
And Martin.
Sorry. Martin Jorgensen first.
That's $14.
Thank you very much. Gideon is a mini boss. Thrawn is going to be the real villain. Also, Slave One tracked down the Falcon without Solo detecting them. So I assume Boba added stealth systems to his ship.
Absolutely,
he would have.
I mean, it's probably the most OP small ship in history because he put every, you know, the best ship money could buy. Of course, you know. Yeah. Fleet
Paw Swiftback, $2. We hit 150. Can we hit 300?
Wow.
We have 100 people here. Everybody hit that limit. Let's see how high we can get.
I mean, 200. I think 200 is realistic.
Eugene, 100 rubles.
Click like.
Yeah. Let's go for it. Eugene, 100 rubles. I was hoping for Ahsoka, Kyle showing up in the last episode and chopping Dark Troopers' squad to bits. I need a good lightsaber scene after sequels. Yeah, I think something like that's going to happen. Like they're going to be down to, you know, down and out, and a Jedi is going to show up. You're just going to see a lightsaber in the dark, and all of a sudden, yeah, it's something.
Oh, it's telegraphed, but in a good way, you know. And considering that Grogu is communicating through his emotions, you can imagine the signal is very much like they understand exactly who he is, what he's meaning, and the fear in him, and whoever's there is going to rush to that. I wouldn't even be surprised actually if we have something as simple as it's a new character introduced and they say it's Luke's apprentice, because then you kind of get a Luke reference, like you kind of get Luke's presence without, you know, Luke is busy dealing with the New Republic, but he sent me. I was his first, which we've never obviously seen in canon, his first apprentice, and I was on. And then you say he's on that helped, he or she or it, you know, as an alien, helped to build the Jedi Temple. That would be a fun way of doing that. And then you could obviously have a scene where you maybe even talks to Luke on a holo communicator. Obviously, less budget for de-aging if it's through a digital effect. You know, and I'd be fine to see only Luke on a screen. To be honest, you know, I would be fine with that. It's not as impressive as it could be, but you know, de-age Luke, etc., would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we see.
Well, then we get going through the crater.
Stuart, it's so sad.
I know, and I love the part, especially for ship guys. Like I was good. When I first saw the Razor Crest, I was like, oh, that's really, but it's grown on me. And this episode, it looked so nice. I love the part that he picks up though, is like a modern day jack for a car. And then he finds the little ball, the little knob, puts it in his belt. And then of course the only thing left is the Beskar spear, which was nice touch, because I was wondering about that when it first happened.
I mean, it makes sense. This thing can survive a lot of stuff. So poignant, but I was surprised, obviously, by this and the vibe, because in the context before they reveal, it's okay. So I've got nothing now, no money, no ship. My little dude has left, been stolen, and these two people owe me nothing, because why the hell would they? I haven't got any money to pay them. He's got his armor, doesn't need me anymore, and I can't necessarily trust them. And then it suddenly swaps to this, I thought, kind of, not random, they explain it, but this left turn of, okay, no, I owe you a debt because we promised to not kill him, therefore we're going to help you save him. It's a bit of a stretch for me. But then once you assess that, it's like, oh, okay, now you've got your team. But it's just like, I was waiting for him to say, look, Boba Fett, I will give you this. This is worth a lot. This is all I have left. I'll give you this. Help me. All right. For the creed, you know. But the fact that he's like, I will do whatever I want for you. It's like, really? I don't see that. It felt silly to me. Like, you didn't get that down and out moment because he already had his team assembled. You know, it wasn't a team a minute ago. So I thought that was not earned, personally. But I prefer them working together, obviously. But
he would never give up the Beskar spear. It's the code
to save his
belongs
kid.
To the Mandalorians. It's not his kid though. He's still not going to break the code. The code's the most important thing in his life, regardless of the kid or not. He's not going to give up He would never have given up the armor until, like, this point was nice because he pulls up the chain code and says, "Look, Boba Fett, my dad, Jango Fett, this armor's coded to me." And he's like, "Okay, so it does belong to you. Well, there you go. It's where it belongs now."
Yeah.
He wouldn't give up the spear though as payment for anything.
But now you could.
Even though he didn't earn the spear.
Also true. Yes.
Because he said no.
It was a gift, really.
Yeah, exactly. But it still belongs with the Mandalorians. It's in his possession. Will return it.
But since we've just established he is the son of a foundling, so that's why he lets him have the armor, because he is part of the Mandalorian creed, just not formally. And if he was going to, he's a clone of a Mandalorian foundling. What's the legality on if you're a clone of the foundling?
Well, you're technically the foundling.
Exactly. So actually, I could totally see him be justified. Like, no, you could use this too. Like, you know, you've got the armor, you've got the legacy, you've helped me. No. It isn't like giving it to the lady. It's like, oh, this is, you know. So that's more payment.
I'll buy that, I guess. But I still think his code would negate that. But well, I don't know.
But I appreciate their friends. Like, that's great. We're moving forward into the next gen, and obviously, you know, let's see them kick the butt.
And I love when they're approaching the planet. He's like spinning Slave One. It's like, what? But then the landing's really cool.
It's so
for such an awkward, weird ship. This thing is very cool. Like, we need to do Trekyards on this soon, I think, to cash in on the Boba Fettness.
We did, Stuart.
Did we do the Slave One?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then we'll watch the Slave One.
I remembered I didn't remember filming it, but I remember rendering it.
Okay.
Slave One mission briefing, February 7th, 2017.
Because I didn't remember researching it and writing a script for it, so it was just a mission briefing.
I believe it was our first one that we actually had the Star Wars LCARS custom. I converted the first one I converted the mesh from Bridge Commander. So I've got it fully converted. We could absolutely do another one, and that'd be kind of a fun, full episode.
Mm-hmm.
Do some animations that fly by with my new skills. So it's only got 9,400 views though in 3 years. So
go type in Trekyards Slave One and go watch it, guys.
You know what? I'm gonna put it in the chat. I want to see a spam of likes. We've got 301 likes. Go click.
Well, we should reshare it on Trekyards. So Fleet Paw,
Get on it.
Or Ian, if you're still here, go share it, because I'll forget if at the end of this.
Yes.
I thought we hadn't done one because I didn't remember researching it or writing a script, but if it's just a mission briefing, that's why. Okay. Anyhow, yeah, he goes to see Cara Dune, who is now the Marshal of the New Republic, at least on this planet. And
I'm surprised about.
Her,
I didn't think that
yeah.
I didn't think it was that quick, but I guess she really bonded with him. It's like, okay, cool, sure.
Yeah, but she asked her to locate somebody in the prison directory. She's like, let's see what I can do. And you get a whole whackload of weird mugshots. But it's the ex-Imperial sharpshooter named Mayfield.
Named Bill Burr.
Mayfeld.
Yes.
Mayfeld, yeah. And she's like, okay, here he is. He's in 50-year sentence.
Yeah.
So what do you need with him, essentially? He's like, well, I got to break him free. And she's like, well, those stripes come with some responsibilities. I can't really let you do that. No. But Mandalorian needs him to help track down Moff Gideon's light cruiser. And then he says they've got the kid. And that's it. And it cuts to his cruiser in hyperspace.
And what's fun here is that she's like, wait, the Imperials are out here? I like the visceral reaction. Like, this is the territory that we as I'm now New Republic, etc. It's like, oh, even though it's only a light cruiser.
Well, that's what even after Boba Fett said that the Imperial Empire's back. They're like, but this is New Republic territory,
Yeah. We get some Gideon, some nice reuse of sets, but I like the vibe here. This feels more like we got some budget. We've got this was wish there was more of this. And boy, the tone of this scene is Baby Yoda gone dark. Is definitely what they're trying to like. For me, I was like, oh, he's venting some dark side energy here.
Oh yeah, smashing stormtroopers together. He force chokes one of them.
Doesn't kill them.
And then, nope.
Kill them. I mean, blunt force trauma, but.
Although the one like limps away afterwards.
Yeah.
I assume they both did because they're both out of the room. But
yeah,
they're pretty. They're not happy.
And it's impressive considering how little Grogu was doing to suddenly do this. It's quite satisfying, and the fact that a puppet can act that flawlessly. Good acting. I know Grogu had more acting lessons in between the seasons to try and hone the performance, but I think he really nailed the Force performance.
Yeah. And Mark Kettler said, dang, got here way late. Well, go check out the beginning. I mean, we're almost at the end here, but...
Gotta go back in time.
Hour and 32 minutes into it, so... Go watch it.
Yes. Darth Grogu the Mighty. Love it. Yes.
Yes.
Darth Grogu.
And Darth Gideon's like, you're getting good at that, but it makes you oh so sleepy.
Yeah.
And have you ever seen one of these? Oh, you can't play with this? You'll put an eye out.
Yeah.
He's such an asshole. And I almost finished season 2 of The Boys now. And he's in The Boys as well. Like, he's such a good actor.
Yeah, they haven't given him any enough material to shine in this yet. He just feels like Mr. Imperial guy that's trying to be menacing, but hasn't been set up enough. But this was his best scene, hands down. Because he has fun, And the saber looked cool. I mean, it's definitely a weird ass saber in every single possible way. It's like a fan film design of like, well, let's do a lightsaber that we can't call a lightsaber. Oh, it's a sword blade black thing. Sure. But it's cool. It's
quantum singularity blade.
Everything's better with quantum.
Hole. Anyway, they zap Baby Yoda with the stun.
I always love the stun circle. It was used once in the original trilogy, but that became canon. That's how you stun. I love that.
Yeah. Then he says, when we come into hyperspace, send an encrypted message to Dr. Pershing.
Yep.
Let him know we got our donor. And then they put little tiny binders on him. And I'm like, I need to get a pair of binders for my little guy that glow.
Yeah.
Just because. I'm like, why would they have binders so small? But they've been looking for him specifically. So I can see Moff Gideon. Plus, there's other aliens that are small.
Remember, it's only been less than a year since he was already in their control.
Yeah.
So I mean, they presumably have complete equipment to take his blood, and I mean, this is just the stuff he's been, equipment that he's got. And then we end on this cliffhanger of, oh dear, that's not so great. And I was like, finally, Stuart, we got some actual plot. We got the main story. I was excited. But Stuart, I do need the audience to put in some scores. And I want to see the full amount of $43. 43? That's a series of 5s. Put in some 5s. I absolutely want to see what you guys think in the scores. But I want those $43.
You should cycle through the end shots, the art when we do our finals, because the art is so good. I make sure I get it each time.
Sure. It's fun to see how it differs sometimes, or often, actually.
Yeah. For me, originally I thought this was like the best of the series. It really isn't, especially after we talked about it. But it is still good. It is still like a good piece of Star Wars for me. It was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yes, it was very enjoyable for me. As a non-Star Wars fan, it would have been meh,
You wouldn't have got it.
But yeah.
Well, you would have got it because it was so simple.
Yeah. Great to see Boba Fett back and doing what Boba Fett should have done all along and never got a chance to. And just seeing him being a badass was great. So that was awesome. Even the fact that the lady was back was nice, because I did like her character.
Yeah.
Mandalorian didn't do much again in this one. Again, he's a guest star on his own show lately, which is...
And honestly, I wasn't believing the Pedro Pascal rumors, but I mean, given everything we've seen the last 3, clearly, he... I mean, you can't deny he's far less in this than last year. So I believe that he walked off the set and they had to like force a contractual thing to have him still record lines, and they changed his scenes, they reshot stuff, and like obviously
I'm not so sure about that, but I think some discontent on his part, but not all the rumors. But anyway.
just the sense of the rumors, like he was disinclined to do too much more, because he's I'm sure if you like looked at his lines and screen time compared to the first season, it would be half, or a third less. Something substantial, I'm sure. But look at that Slave One cockpit art. That's glorious.
I know.
Because I never really got a sense of the interior ever in the movies, for whatever reason.
No, neither did I. The closest we got to the interior was the Robot Chicken, where you see him talking to Han and Carbonite. Like, baby.
Yeah.
Boba's here. Oh, yeah.
He's like, pulls like, hey, too slow.
Yeah.
God, the best of Boba Fett really was Robot Chicken, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
That was the best he ever was. Jesus Christ. Brilliant. Love it.
Anyway, this one, dark tone. It's kind of like the Empire Strikes Back almost. So I'm hoping the next 2 really bolster this one, and it's just like all one big finale, which I think it is, because this one was shorter. It's like 33 minutes, I think.
Yeah. If they're both 50, that'll be a movie length, and I think this is where they're going to put all the money into, because they've been cheap episodes. I want to see this blow us out of the water with budget.
Yeah. So it's not as good as I originally anticipated. I was probably going to give it a 9.5. Wow. But now, having talked about it a little bit more, and it just being part 1, and like I said, it's very one tone. It's like Stormtroopers battle. That's basically what this is.
Yeah, it's one long scene. It literally is one long scene. In essence,
with the return of a great character and stuff. So it's still going to get a high score. It's probably going to get an 8 out of 10 from me. But it's not the best of the series like I originally thought. Like coming off the first viewing, I was like, that is awesome. That was an awesome episode.
Yes. Yep.
The more it sits with you, the more you rewatch it and see things. I haven't even looked. I got to go back and watch it again to see the helicopter in the background. Apparently there's a helicopter behind Boba Fett in one scene, which who cares, honestly. It's probably the guy with jeans flying the helicopter that they took out of. They actually edited him out for future. Which is great.
And obviously
something Discovery won't do.
No, seriously. And I'm sure that person's also drinking the Game of Thrones coffee as well. Oh, yes, water. It was water, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I need to go back and watch it and look for the CGI stormtroopers and stuff, because I didn't notice them. But pointing out the scenes that you did, I'm going to go back and take a look. And I don't think it'll take anything away from it for me. It was a fun ride, and I think that's, at the end of the day, that's what I want from Star Wars. I don't want something you have to think too much about. It's not like Star Trek, where you get into deep, more complex thoughts and stuff.
Well, this is where this one benefited, because the stark simplicity allowed there to be a more exciting roller coaster. Last week we had questions about the planet they did not care to answer or even try to answer, so it felt hollow. This one, there was nothing in it, so we just enjoyed the ride, you know?
Yeah.
Therefore, if they just had better choreography with the fighting and the thought process, like if they had, stormtroopers with different types of armor, like, because I mean, they've all this Force Awaken armor they have. All you need to do is put a different helmet on, use the same arm. They could have different brands of troopers. They should have had like multiple levels of boss battles, like going up as they bring in more and more impactful troops, and have a sense of, ooh, cool,
And even the jetpack, like, just to have him take it off as a way, put down your gun, we'll take off your jetpack. It's like, to have it damaged when he goes into the force thing, gets thrown back, and it gets like, it's like sparking or something because of the force damage. It's damaged. Fine. It's still on his back, sparking. He can't use it. He tries, and it like burns out or something. Mm-hmm. I know it's probably made of Beskar and probably can't be damaged, and that's why they didn't do that. But that's why I said the force damage, like electrical, kind of shorts it out or something.
Yeah, blown fuse
would have been better.
Blown fuse. That's all you need.
Yeah. Would have been better in my opinion than just set it down and never go back and get it.
It feels so inorganic. Like they just said, oh, he can't be wearing it the rest of the fight. Won't make sense. Okay, just take it off for this moment. It's like, oh.
Yeah. So there's little things like that just kind of bugged me and didn't make it as perfect as I thought it was originally. But like I said, the enjoyment factor is definitely there for this one, and I can't wait till the next two are out so that I can watch them all together, and binge it. So
I think
I'm gonna go.
go
ahead.
No, you finish.
And my final score is 8 out of 10.
I think honestly, it'll be a better 3-parter as a 1-parter, easily.
Yeah.
And I think the best thing to do for this episode would be remove some of the fighting with stormtroopers in the middle. They're wasted scenes. They detract from the pace. The start's good. Boba's good. Remove the sniper bit entirely, and then cut straight to the Death Troopers coming in quicker. I think that would improve the episode a lot, because then everything feels more organic. And then, because it's now shorter, you jump straight into part 2. Now it's better. So I think if you made this, this would be a fun one actually to re-edit these 3 episodes into a movie, cutting and streamlining it a bit. I think will end up being the best 3-parter they've done. The only 3-parter they've done. But yeah. And guys, we are now only $15 away. So well done. We're almost there. Well done. And I'll let you jump in for super chats, and then I'll do my score. But $15, we're right close to being there, guys. So well done.
But you want to do super chats before your score?
Are they all? Well, up to you.
No, do your score first.
Okay.
Let the super chats build up. We'll get them all at the end. Boom, boom, boom.
$15, yeah. So yeah, this one, similar thing. This is a better roller coaster than last week for sure. Boba was great, although odd, but interesting to watch. This one was. We've asked. It's kind of like they said, episode 1, we're going to tease Boba and then ignore him, and then he's just going to walk in and be the epic hero. Like, it's 2 extremes. Tease everything all at once. It's like, oh, okay. Let's not piecemeal this. Let's just have, But it was it was eating a really dense dessert, and enjoying it, and realizing, it was actually lacking calories. But the assassin lady was unnecessary. I think she kind of detracted a little bit. It would have been more fun to see Boba fight the Stormtrooper by himself and see the armor and see his strategy, and maybe even so take her out of the equation entirely. Have him activate a thing on his armor which connects him to the Mandalorian's Beskar, Mandalorian armor, and Mando's like, "What? How are you talking to me? I installed a Mandalorian-based communication grid in my armor, and I can override anyone else's armor." It's like, yeah, of course it is, Boba Fett. Of course he can do that. That would have been great. And then those 2 work together to take out stormtroopers. Could have been better, but they want to do. They have a destination this season, and they don't know how to get there properly, and that's very evident. But now we're going to get there finally. It's going to be epic, and this one's definitely better than most this season. So this was definitely a high point. I still think, though, as with all of these, every episode has made episode 1 look better and better. So my score for episode 1, because I was basing episode 1 on last season, but this season the episode 1 was the best, hands down, easily the best episode. So that score is now too low. That I gave a 7.5. Now I think I have to give it a 9 based on this season, which would mean this one I can give higher. So I'm kind of in a rock and a hard place. I don't like it as much as episode 1, but my score for episode 1 is only so high. So what do I do, Stuart? Can I retcon my first score so I can give this one a better
Yes.
score? Okay. Okay, we're retconning episode 1 score to an 8.9. Being fair, give a 9, you know, we'll wait for a 9. And this one I absolutely agree with being an 8. I was absolutely going to say an 8 really early on. It's more solid, it's more fun. It misses the beat on a few places, but, you know, it's more the polish. And it felt like a fan film, but, I mean, that's okay, because we had the real Boba Fett back, you know? Like, that's cool. It's the real voice actor, the real Django, you know, it's the canon. It's like, you know, Spock from Discovery. It wasn't Ethan Peck in old age makeup. It was actually Leonard Nimoy. That's that level of, oh, okay, good, you know? So, yeah, 8 out of 10. Absolutely with you on this one. Good for them.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to your scores, your super chat scores.
Yes.
Starting with Tenchi 2K7, puts in $5. 8 out of 10 for Mandalorian. Very good, despite some small nitpicks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Martin Jorgensen, 45 krona. When will the Discovery spore in and save the day? We just need Michael Burnham to come in using. She answered the Force call. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be the merging of universes.
Yeah. Oh, to be fair,
that's the song. That's the song. It's Grogu caused the song to permeate all of the Star Trek timeline just to find Michael Burnham.
Although DJ Knight says, don't nitpick the episodes, directors have poetic license. So you're saying problems, you can just ignore problems, they're allowed to make mistakes and have problems? Is that what you're saying? So any film that has a mistake, you know, you're giving them, you know, oh, doesn't matter, this actor died 3 times in the same scene, doesn't matter. Well, I mean, at that point, the quality will start slipping. But then you get movies like Dark Knight where almost everything's perfect, you know? Yeah. Hold these people to account, because then you get quality material. Don't hold them to account, and you get things like Paul Blart's Mall Cop or Transformers 4. You know, if you don't hold people to account, you don't make them have high standards, you get shit. Like you know, to some extent, the last 3 Star Wars films. You know, you give people wrong ideas and they make bad stuff. You know, what do you expect?
And that being said, I mean, we still give this an 8 out of 10, both of us. And considering that Discovery struggles sometimes to get an 8 from us, it's totally different. Like playing field, like we said with Mandalorian, even when it's bad, it's good. Yep.
Like, I don't think it could be under a 5, you know.
No, they haven't done anything close to that. So,
but I definitely, season 1 was much better for me.
Like it could literally be Mandalorian sitting on a rock throwing stones
with Boba just hanging out.
Yeah, for the whole episode, and it would still get a 6 out of 10 from us.
We'll say it's filler. But it'll be fun filler. Yeah.
It would still be filmed nicely and, you know, look good.
And in fact, and in fact, the whole episode is just him just recounting the Sarlacc pit, but with no cutaways, just on their faces, no cutaways. And they're like, this episode cost us $10,000 to make. 1 rock, 2 actors, 1 day. And we were like, yes, 6 out of 10. Good acting by 2 guys in helmets. It's just 2 helmets talking for 30 minutes on 1 rock.
It would still be done better than some episodes of Discovery.
But it'd be they'd cut now they're at night and now they're at day and now they've got a campfire. It'd be beautiful.
BJ Turan with Disco, even when it's good, it's not that good.
Oh, season 3 though, it's got
season
good.
3 is better.
It's got some good, you know.
Sure. Anyway, Fleetpod Swiftback, $5. 10 out of 10 for Trekyards, as always. 7.5 out of 10 for the show. Pretty good. TMA, $5. Not the best episode. All action, not good writing, and plot holes, but loved Boba Fett. 6 out of 10.
Good summation.
Dreamer out there, $2. Cap, how is Clone Wars treating you? I'm really enjoying it, actually. Way more than I thought I would be. Like I said, I'm on episode 10 now, I think, of season 1. And it's good. I'm really enjoying it. So
it's quite refreshing, especially at the time when you had the prequels and we knew exactly what happened. Then go back and just take a breath and then actually be in this universe with the Jedi and see what it was like. To actually have them exist, have them be day to day, have them not be special, and have this society. It's like that has never been a thing, and they really explored it.
When did season 1 of Clone Wars happen? Was it between the movies?
Yeah.
Because I get the feeling like this is before. It would have to be because General Grievous gets killed.
Everything is between episodes 2 and 3. All of it. And like I think right at the end of Clone Wars, it's like during 3. That's kind of part of the payoff. Is like you see like events at the same time.
Gotcha.
So all of the setup for Grievous is pretty much in the Clone Wars. Well, I mean, it'll set up in the previous thing, but I mean, all the like Grievous is done dirty in the film, but he's given a lot of extra in the show. I think that's the same voice actor as well. But yeah, it's all.
Yeah, I think so.
Because basically, it's the war. Because the thing is, Attack of Clones is the start of the war. Revenge is at the end of the war. The Clone Wars is the entire war in between. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. Kai L. Wong, £5. Mando is less frustrating to watch than Discovery. Absolutely.
Well, I think also Star Wars, to turn your brain off.
It's just fun, yeah.
It's just fun. Although, like I said, this season is much less smart than season 1, and I don't know what happened. I'm guessing they had less creative control this year because the giant of Disney said, "Oh, you guys are the future," and they put in things. It's kind of like Deadpool 1 versus Deadpool 2. Deadpool 1 was written for like 10 years, and Ryan Reynolds was really involved, and it was refined down to an art. Like everything is just there. Deadpool 2 is much more sloppy because it was actually made in 2 years. It was like a normal film. It was written, it was directed, but it's way more sloppy. And it's just less enjoyable overall, even though it does a lot of good things. This season, again, is sloppier, got some good stuff, but it's not this honed piece, Yeah.
Joe Torres, $5.
Thank you.
How much does the retconning of Jenga, the game, and Boba's lineage change things for you both? You spelled Django wrong, my friend, but that's okay. It doesn't really... it doesn't bother me. How is it retconning?
Oh, it is, because Django was never a foundling. And in fact, this is sort of a new concept. So him being directly linked to the Mandalorian creed and then just rejecting it. Because I believe originally he was told to be from the Mandalorian system, but not from Mandalore itself. So he's kind of linked, but not directly, because it's a creed, not a cut. So he's not a Mandalorian born, but he's culturally. I liked that. I thought it was actually a good addition, because that explains, why is Boba Fett so good? Because he's one of the only Mandalorian bounty hunters trained. But also his own...
It's not something he'd be announcing to everybody, too. Like, hi, I'm Boba Fett. I'm a foundling. How you doing? It's like, what?
I mean, except the armor, something obviously. But...
And he didn't even mention it to Mandalorian when he first talked to him and wanted the armor back. That's something you'd say. I'm a foundling. That meant it's Mandalorian armor.
My dad's a foundling.
He said, it was given to me by your forebears, or given to my dad by your forebears, so it belongs to me. You didn't get into the specifics and say my dad was a foundling. Yeah. Anyway.
To say it was my dad's armor, he was a foundling. Are you a foundling? Yes, great, let's bond.
And Joe wants me to read a super chat here. Or not a super chat, but a message he sent. Mm-hmm. He said, how mind-blowing is it that Emperor Palpatine told Darth Tyrannus to get a Mandalorian bounty hunter to make the clone army to fight the Jedi? The one thing in the universe outside the Sith that stands a chance against the Jedi. Yeah. It's interesting.
No, exactly. Yeah. I mean, Mandalorian by creed, and obviously he did also help train them. Like, I remember they said he's one of the ones that instructed the man, because the Kaminoans aren't warriors, they're tech builders. So he's the one that trained the people to train them, and etc. That's actually a lovely point, and that's a good little retcon, because it was never quite made clear, etc. Because you knew Boba wasn't a Mandalorian, he just had the armor. But they didn't even know what Mandalorian was when they built the armor originally. They just gave it a name, and then they started, backspacing all the details.
I remember when it's like you were wondering what was under Boba Fett's helmet, like what did he look like? Because you thought he was like an alien of some sort. Yeah. Didn't think necessarily like a human looking, right? Mm-hmm. And I think in one of the comics they actually take his helmet off and he's got like a kind of lizard head. But fun. Back in the comic days, Yeah. Jersey, $5, 6.75 out of 10. Like the action, but the whole episode is set up. It'll likely be better as part of the whole story, but as a single episode, just okay. Dark Troopers were a tease. Absolutely.
Well, it really was just Boba Fett's the setup. Like, oh no, you thought you saw him. You thought he might be rusty. He's the strongest person on this planet. Nothing to worry about there. So I think that was really the whole point.
And Matthew K throws in $5 and says, okay, I caught up. It's none of those names. How did you catch up?
Yeah.
You didn't even watch it all then. You're not paying attention. Unless you're watching it at like 2 times speed. And...
Real Street, that's about Mandalorian 1. So Street, just goes over 5 months everywhere. Oh my god, it's about the camera.
Yeah, that's you. And then there's me. Well, Let's see. That's sped up. Just saying. Anyway, yeah, so there you go, guys. Chapter 14. What we got? 15 and 16, right? There's 2 more left. Yeah.
And it is on an upward swing, which I appreciate.
Absolutely.
Because this show's definitely been losing me this year. Just the lack of what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
And lack of
I remember you saying, I hope something happens after I had seen it and you hadn't yet. You said, I hope it picks up. And I'm like, I don't think you'll enjoy this one. I didn't say that to you because I don't like giving you expectations either way.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's good. It's good.
And guys, we are 16 likes away, which are free, just like. And hey, $15. I don't think we're going to get any more, though. That's okay. Oh, there is just 2 more. But yeah, 16 likes. I'd love to see 200 likes. It's easy. It's simple. Just click like. And then we can go sort of in victory. And guys, you did come out. Not quite as much as last week, but that's okay. We only need a certain amount, and we kind of hit a minimum. And always appreciate it. Always.
Yes. But the Sporkmeister throws in $2. Boba's rocket has a timed respawn like a video game. That's because his jetpack and his rocket are made out of programmable matter. So after he launches it, it starts building another one in the slot. Yeah.
I mean, that's certainly cool.
That would be cool, actually, now that I've said it.
Yeah, I definitely feel like you should do some sort of Star Trek crossover just because of the 31st century tech. How could you even deny that they can cross universes very, very easily? It should be easy.
They're going to try to send Giorgio back to the mirror universe, and it's going to cross over to the Star Wars universe. And we're going to find out that, Grogu actually sent the song via his hanging out on the rock. And then Michael Burnham is, of course, Force sensitive, which she didn't know because she didn't know about the Force. And then she's going to go and save Grogu. It's the writing's on the wall, guys. Come on.
Well, I mean, you can also obviously say that by going, but the Red Angels who actually gave her Force powers, inside the temporal vortex, she let in the and because she traveled the mycelial network combined with the temporal vortex brought midichlorians into her bloodstream, and they then festered over the year to the point where she now has access to them somewhat.
Because the mycelial network, of course, is in the Star Wars universe and our universe. It ties all the universes together.
Has to, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and then she's trained by Mace Windu, who comes in, because we know he's going to be alive. And and John Boyega, he's going to go back in time somehow and finally be a Jedi and get something to do. And then you'll actually have 3 black actors. You'll have the hero of the prequels, black actor, hero of the sequels, and hero of Discovery. And it'll be called Shaft 4 with Jedis.
Oh my goodness.
That's what it was. Shaft, wasn't it? Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shaft.
Yeah. There you go, guys.
That's funny. Tiburon, $5. This is the way. Absolutely, this is the way.
And we have 7 more likes, and that is our final way. 7 more. Yeah.
7 more likes, guys. Squadra Course, $2. I'm fresh out of likes. How about cash instead? It's always a welcome replacement for likes. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. That's great. I thought it meant the other way around, but the fact they super chatted it meant that. Okay, I'm stupid. Don't worry.
You are dumb. It's okay. You're pretty. It's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, if given the opportunity, the Disco writers couldn't even pull it off. Yeah, do a crossover with the Matrix. Get Lawrence Fishburne in there. Well, there is a new Matrix movie coming, so maybe And
then do a crossover with Marvel and get Samuel L. Jackson in it twice.
Ooh.
Once without arms, once without.
Well, he also played Shaft in the
3
remake
times.
of the Shaft.
Yeah, well, that's why I linked it in. Yeah. Okay. And Will Smith to play either Hancock, so have a superhero slant, or play Agent J. I mean, that would be a film.
That's one word for it. Yep.
Things you could do that as like an animated thing, though. That'd be a really fun, like, comic strip. How it all started with Michael Burnham traveling through time, going to a new universe, having a force to bring a Mace. Yeah, wow. Gosh.
5 more likes.
That's
5 more likes. And we got some last super chat slots opening up here. So Herbster Magus throws in $2. They can fly now.
And it's so annoying because they flew in Attack of the Clones and Django flies. Like, jetpacks are easy. Yeah. This don't... Oh, goodness.
Fleet Paw Swiftback, $2. Sam is pretty, and I'm paying on 200 for 200 on Faith. Well, we need 3 more likes to get to 200, and I haven't hit it. I haven't hit like yet, actually.
Well, then you'll be the 2 more then. And Jazzy says, and Wesley Snipes' Blade. Yes! Because he was absolutely phenomenal in that. I'm sad he couldn't make any more because he was absolutely perfect for that. I really hope I get the Blade 4K for Christmas. I really want to watch that. You know, one of the best superhero films ever is Blade, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, I'm 200. I was at 200th one, and then I went to 201. So there we go. But we can't like our own videos, guys.
Oh, I already did. Hi, Zach Ball, and you made me say that.
Zach Ball?
Yep.
What? Oh, hi, Zach. That's a great name. Well, anyway, we hit 200 likes. We hit our minimum for the. That's awesome, guys. And I'm looking forward to next week.
Yep.
Hopefully it's way better.
And hopefully
I'm sure it will
55 minutes that they said, F it, we're doing a movie, just in 2 parts.
I'm okay. Let's guess. I'm guessing it's going to be about 44 minutes.
I'm going to say 35. I'm going to say it's going to be the absolute opposite of what we want. And then the last episode will be 45. Like, we'll be like, oh, yay, the last one's long. It's only 45.
There you go.
Although, to be fair, though, in the context of filming inside a spaceship, those rooms are much smaller, so you could do that digital fake set thing easier inside a spaceship. Yeah. So that I hope we got some. And then you can film a lot more internally.
Okay. Well, Kyle Wong throws in £5. Is Gandalf considered a Jedi, and could he beat Vader?
Wow. That's alive. That's a live topic.
Well,
Gandalf
it's funny you
Vader.
said Vader.
Why
you said Vader as well. I used to date a Vader. She was a stripper. I was a stripper named Vader. That's just funny. Sorry. Mitza
could she beat off Gandalf?
Ooh. £2. I think Grogu will die.
Oh.
My opinion.
Oh.
Or in my opinion, I think. Oh. Yeah. So Mitza has the last super chat slot, so thank you. Darth Data.
I mean, we did say, lore, you know. That is basically just Darth Data. And then we have Darth Riker. It's just Thomas. Because, you know, if he only has the goatee, he's evil.
That's true.
That was such a great moment, though, pulling off a fake sideburns.
Yeah.
That was so great. It's such a stupid, wonderful idea that you have to be like that. Had to be high. You know, it's like such a great little, like, I have a great idea.
But the best part from that episode, honestly, is where he meets O'Brien and he's like, I don't have anything to say to you. I think you know why. And O'Brien's like,
I forgot about that, yeah.
Did I miss something? Yeah.
We hugged the last time I saw you. We said we're best friends, and now you hate me? What?
And I'm the most important person on the ship, and probably Starfleet in the future. You don't know.
Somebody from the future came and told me the most important person ever. But I have to put up with Keiko's shit because...
Oh, God.
Because a best person in the universe would do that. So I was forced into that.
Yeah, well, it's yin and yang. You can't be best without having to put up with some hardships, right?
Yes.
O'Brien must suffer, and wow, this went way off the rails. But anyway, thank you very much, guys, for watching. We're at the 2-hour mark, which is again awesome. We didn't,
No, we did not.
But I'm in a much better mood from when I started because I was kind of down. So thank you guys for cheering me up. Appreciate that.
That often happens, though, Stuart. You guys are great. So see you guys probably tomorrow. Until then, have a great night, a great day, great evening, and say bye, Stuart.
Bye, Stuart. Bye, guys.
Bye.